Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you this morning. FTX relaunch. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Denelle, Dixon, the new drivers in the crypto market. You're going to like it. Ripple President Monica Long talking about the tipping point for banks. Adapt or die, ladies and gentlemen. And the BIS must have heard her because they're talking about automated market makers. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.22 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.7%. Bitcoin, 30,600 plus. We see Ethereum, 1,800 plus. And we see Tether market cap, 83.3 billion plus. Watching it closely, XRP, 47 cents, slipping from that crucial 48 cent mark. We will take a look at a chart and see what the technical analysts say before we get out of here today. Right now, I want to tell you about this. Look, Circle was on the board yesterday. We made a mention of it, and it was gone in 8 minutes. H2O AI, gone in the same day. I'm telling you right now about Ripple. We all know what's coming. There's a decision coming sooner rather than later, whether it's September or today. How much longer will we have the opportunity to get Ripple private equity from Link2's platform? Click the link underneath the video. Don't mess around. You know how this goes. One of these times will be the last time we're ever able to get it. Here we start with this. I tell you, how dumb does the government think we actually are? The bankrupt FTX now begins the process to relaunch the exchange. Are you kidding me right now? What in the world is going on? How is this even possible? We'll keep you up to date on it. Then there's this right here. You've got to hear this clip here that Digital Asset Investor shared a little later or late yesterday. Take a listen to this.
Almost out of time. Just in terms of what you would say to regulators that are trying to say that Ethereum is a security and should be treated as such.
Well, regulators have spoken. The SEC has spoken. Bill Hinman made a speech. I think it was in mid-2018. It was disclosed that I think 18 of his colleagues at the SEC worked on the speech with him. So the SEC actually spoke. The CFTC has spoken very crisply. These are U.S. agencies, very crisply a number of times that they consider Ether a commodity and not a security. And so it's really a foregone conclusion at this point. There may be a regulator or two in the United States that can't bring himself to utter the fact that Ether is not a security, but I don't know why that's the case, and ultimately that just doesn't matter.
Almost out of time.
Oh, it just doesn't matter. Well, it sounds to me like the gauntlet has been thrown down, Gary Gensler. Joseph Lubin says you don't have the stones that come stop him. Looks like another poke at the Gare Bear. Yeah, well, that ain't all. Then I want to share this retweet here from Ashley Prosper, who says, I imagine we'll be seeing some of these people images again, next time related to a Department of Justice investigation. I also imagine a certain bank would be happy to acquire more of a certain crypto company should one or more of its founders find themselves otherwise occupied with law enforcement. Excellent, excellent comment there. And then we have this. The former SEC chair, Jay Clayton, sits down to really edify and almost he wants to detach himself from Gary Gensler's approach now. And I tell you, this is a great tweet right here shared by Meta Lawman. Shout out to him. He says, yes, I agree. This is a must watch. And as you watch, for those of you that are new to this space, remember the gentleman you're looking at right now is the one who authorized the SEC case against Ripple on his last day in office. Now, I want you to watch this clip right here.
High level on the, let's take this to a very high level on the regulatory side. What
Yeah,
you're
let's do that,
hearing
Jay.
from the leaders of the regulatory organizations is if we're not losing cases, if we're not being pushed back on by the courts, we're not doing enough. Think about that for a second. That is a fundamental shift in how we as Americans view the role of the government. I don't want to be in a place where I know the government is going to bring cases they think they're going to lose. Imagine you're the person who is the subject of that case. Now, we're talking about corporations.
Yeah,
but
see if they can. And if they're not stopped, they're going to, yeah.
Right, but this is an ethos now, which is unless we're losing, we're not bringing enough cases. That may be fine for private litigants against each other and think about it. But when you have the power of the state and you're supposed to only bring cases and only make rules that you think are going to pass judicial muster. Let's take this to.
I have to say, I actually agree with him. But this is exactly what the judge in the Ripple case was alluding to when she said SEC lawyers were not maintaining faithful allegiance to the law. You're supposed to have a good faith basis to being a case, meaning you believe you can win by applying the law. You don't wait until a judge tells you otherwise. Shameful on the SEC director and Gary Gensler. And it's absolutely right. Shout out to John Deaton for that one here. Then we have this clip right here. This is Ragsy Art, who's talking about building off of the Ripple XRP ledger, I should say, Ripple's XRP ledger, which is the world's XRP ledger, I might add, and says it's a game changer for NFTs and XRP itself. Take a listen to this.
I'm a multi-chain artist, so I have NFTs on Ethereum, I have ordinals on Bitcoin, I have NFTs on Polygon, I did one on BNB. So XRP Ledger is my next venture experiment. In the artsy NFT world, things that are new are hot. That is the advantage that the XRP Ledger in particular has, is that it's new, but also it's fast. It's literally lightning fast. And that I had not experienced on Ethereum or Polygon. So that was actually a big advantage I saw. I do believe it's undervalued, but I also believe Bitcoin is undervalued. If they win, it's going to go up. I'm a multi.
Well, there you have it right there. This is someone who builds on different chains and realizing just how fast and efficient the XRP ledger is and comparing it to her experience of Polygon and Ethereum not having that. Well, that little tidbit of information I think is going to serve us in a conversation we're about to have in just a few moments. But before we do, I want you to hear this. Denelle Dixon from Stellar talking about what is going to be the thing that drives this market going forward. Oh, we like this, and you will too.
It's hard to listen sometimes, and the listening that needs to happen on both sides. And so that's why I will talk to any critic, anybody who's very down on crypto. You can name the regulator or the policymaker, and I'm happy to have that conversation. Again, not to convince, but to understand like why those sentiments are so strongly held by them. And it's just the best way to approach how to solve a challenge that we have, which is really getting people to understand that the technology itself isn't the challenge, and the technology itself has never once failed. It's the implementations and the things that we can see in the end that are really driving value. And I do think that one of the challenges that we have with respect to this technology is the fact that the technology has sort of been on its own, sort of trying to drive itself, and the secondary market has been sort of the driver of the focus, right? And the technology hasn't been, the difference is that normally product drives technology. And we're seeing that now, finally, for the first time in the last year or so in the blockchain space, we see more and more product development and more focus on the underlying product versus the secondary market. That's how we're going to get to mainstream, and that's how we get to solving problems. But it is because of that secondary market, which is valuable, and I'm not being critical of it, but it's because of that the technology wasn't being built through product as much as it would have been in the early days of the web, for example.
Real use case, commercial use case, applicable to a business model. That's what she's talking about. Moving away from the only liquidity that crypto has known to date, which is speculative liquidity. What we're talking about is a transformation of this market that will be driven by utility. Like the on-demand liquidity commercial product designed by Ripple with the use of XRP. And speaking of that, let's take a look at this from Wrath of Common here. It talks about Ripple partner Neum. ODL hired new senior vice president general manager to continue growth in the EU and notes 2 times revenue, 40% of the 2022 profit. 12 billion transaction volume expected to 2 times in the European Union in 2023 alone. Continue hire, sign new customers, expand its product suite, and enter new markets. Sounds like exactly what Denelle Dixon from Stellar Foundation is talking about, but we're now looking at that same macro understanding about utility, commercial use case, peer-to-peer, business-to-business, you name it. It's all about use case utility. And Neum is finding it in droves. And the rest of the world will soon too, I believe. Wrapping up in several weeks on the road, says Brooks Entwistle from Ripple. He says from the IFF in Kigali to the .0 Forum in Zurich this week, it is super encouraging to witness the open dialogue that the Central Bank Monetary Authority of Singapore pursues with the private sector toward the goal of advancing digital asset ecosystem. And then we have the president, Monica Long of Ripple, discussing the journey of Ripple and the Web3 financial industry at the Paris Blockchain Week. And I want you to hear what she says at the end here. The banks realize it is a tipping point and they either adapt or die.
It's really interesting to look backward. We started this journey of working with financial institutions in 2015. We would walk into banks. The original pitch was this idea of you can create an account on a public blockchain called XRP Ledger. It has a built-in decentralized exchange. This would be a very efficient way for you to conduct cross-border payments, provide you a lot more transparency. This was right after Mt. Gox collapse and Silk Road bust. You could guess that the banks generally slammed the doors in our faces. The timing was off. Since then, over the years, crypto as a market expanded a lot. There's been a much warmer embrace across the institutional world. The past couple of years have been a real tipping point for institutional DeFi, where you see even the biggest banks embracing this technology as the future, and they have to adapt or die. It's really
There you have it right there. Well, I tell you what, now, Monica can say it as good as anybody can say it, and she just said it right there. And speaking of adapting or die, a total of 130 countries representing 98% of the global economy are now exploring digital versions of their currencies, with almost half in advanced development, pilot, or launch stage. Welcome to the monetary reset. Apparently, they are all getting the message from Monica Long and the rest of the DLT blockchain industry to either adapt or die. The tipping point is here. And here's even more evidence of it right here. The BIS announcing the automated market makers, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Automated market makers. And although I believe, if my memory serves me right, this may be ERC20 and Ethereum related, that doesn't bother me, because guess what? There's the XLS-38 that we got on the XRP Ledger that's in the DevNet stage to make the EVM side chains really, really comfortable and easy to use, interoperable, so people can get from the Ethereum blockchain to the XRP Ledger and anywhere else they want to go, ladies and gentlemen. And how exciting is that? So whether this is really Ethereum based or not, we all know what the story is that Ethereum's blockchain is not as efficient, whether we're talking about NFTs like Ragsy just did, or whether we're talking about general use. The point is that the automated market makers sounds an awful lot like what we're talking about when we hear about automated market makers on the XRP Ledger. This is going to get interesting. Like I said, I'm not suggesting that it's the XRP Ledger. What I'm suggesting is the XRP Ledger is a better solution. And with the onset of the side chains for the EVM and the XRP Ledger, I think other developers may find, whether they're in the NFT world like the person you heard from earlier or not, they're going to come to the same conclusion. It's very fast and very efficient. Let's take a look really quickly right here at what's going on with price, because 48 cents was a crucial point to hold that line. Eggrag Crypto tells us here, bears managed to bring the price down to 45 cents, yet the bulls are seizing every opportunity to accumulate XRP. The yellow lines are targets represent potential areas for the bears, but for us, the bulls, they present yet another chance to increase our holdings. So if we take a look at what's going on here, you can see this yellow box zooming in, going to the next slide. Here are the points of support and resistance, right? We have resistance at 48 cents, resistance at 50, resistance at 53, resistance at 58. And we know that we could fall back, and we did. We touched 45, even came below just for a second there, right? But we have to watch 42 cents and 38 ultimately. We have seen 38 cents be a very, very reliable support line. I wouldn't be surprised if it drops back down to there. I don't know what will happen. I just know what Brad will do if it does happen. So there you have that. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.